What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, the Ol Drunken Geek again, and I know it's been a little bit since you guys have seen me last, but here I am with my little Joker review, and let's get the shit rolling. This fucking Joker movie, man, it was fucking amazing. I gotta say, it was amazing. I went in there with very, very low expectations. Just before I get into the little review part, spoilers, man, like, go watch this movie, come back, I'll be here waiting for you fuckers to get back. But yeah. So the first thing I gotta say about this movie, man, is like one of the most realistic takes we got into Joker. It was a great character study. We got deep in his mind. There are a billion iterations of the Joker, but this was definitely on brand. I know I like to use that word a lot, but it was very on brand for what the main character of the Joker is. This is a more serious, gritty Joker, and I would even say that it's grittier than the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight Heath Ledger Joker. Now, I've only watched this movie once so far, so I definitely can't say that it's better than Dark Knight, which is my favorite Batman movie of all time. I can't say which performance was better because that would take time. I've seen The Dark Knight, no joke, over 30 times easily. This movie I've only seen the one time, so you know I might be on the afterglow of how, you know, it was good, so I might be in the afterglow and in the high, you know, honeymoon period of this movie, and I might notice other things upon further viewings. But like I said, this is unprecedented in how deep it gets into the psyche of this particular Joker. The story is told completely from his point of view. It really does play in the world of Gotham. Gotham is very important, which is something I like. Something which I felt the later Nolan movies lacked a little bit. This Gotham felt like a Gotham, like a complete world. And I was personally amazed with the locations they got to fucking shoot at, man. Like, some of these buildings look like New York in the 80s. I know it's Gotham, but it's basically New York. You know, 80s New York. And I'm like, were they fucking CG buildings? Are these buildings still standing? Because, you know, I've been to New York, and like 70s and 80s New Yorks that I knew from the movies, a lot of that is gone. A lot of those buildings are gone, but they were able to capture a lot of these, that feeling, and a lot of, you know, the visual parts of that city, and it made it almost like its own character, even down to the graffiti. You know, the 80s were a very peculiar place and a very specific place, and they really nailed that look and feel and tone for this movie, and it really set a very interesting backdrop for it. Also, through the exploration of the Joker character, we get a lot of meta commentary about society and mental health and how we deal with that. Incels, if you guys are not familiar with that term, you can look it up in Google. It's very fascinating. The movie takes you on this fucking trip through his mentality, but it does take that as an opportunity to display certain things about our society that are, you know, kind of make you very uncomfortable, and are things that are very real and very poignant, very of this age right now that we're living in, with, you know, constant the Walmart shooting, all these mass shootings all the time. This is a movie that is gonna make you very uncomfortable, because art does that sometimes. It is, in a way, holding up a mirror, and not to make puns, but a funhouse mirror, a twisted mirror of what our reality is. But it's still a mirror. It's still, you know, reflecting what our reality is today. One other thing I wanted to point out about this movie is it was very effective in building tension. Like, the movie starts off, I don't want to say it starts off slow, but it is a dynamic movie, but it really builds up the tension, because the movie is ultimately about his descent into madness. So it builds up that tension very, very efficiently. It was very seamless. Like, by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh shit, we're here already. Since it is from his point of view, this is the character who you empathize with. Ultimately, he is the lead of the movie Joker. It makes you feel weird because the movie takes him into such a dark territory, which is, you know, expected for a Joker movie. But oh boy, does this shit get dark. Now, let me get into why I hate this movie. I thought I was gonna have to make this, you know, argument about why this movie would not be a great Joker movie, but a good movie. My main thing is, a lot of times in pop media, comic books end up following the movies. Like, for the longest, people were telling me that, like, oh no, the Joker, you know, he's the one who killed Bruce Wayne's parents because Batman 1989. And like, just in common consciousness, I did not want the Joker to be like dragged through the dirt in a way. To me, the Joker's always been like a crazy killer, and like he gets this twisted joy from other people's suffering. That's what makes him such a compelling villain, because it's like some villains might do some killing and maybe enjoy it a lot, but he embraces all that darkness. In his world, everything is upside down, so good is bad and bad is good. I didn't want him to lose that allure. I didn't want him to lose that darkness, because that's what makes him a villain. And that's what I was afraid this movie was going to make him, that it was going to make him some kind of anti-hero. And now we're stuck with fucking anti-hero Joker. Like, there's going to Vegeta Joker. You know, like, he was a bad guy, but now he's a good guy because he had good motives. Like, that's what my biggest fear was. Because, you know, we're going to see that Harley Quinn movie, how that's going to go. That wasn't the fucking trailer. Don't make me get into that. That's a more malleable character. He was a newer character, but Joker has so much history and so much pathos to him already that I didn't want that change. You can do little flip modes and little switches in the comic books, some nice little twists, because that's in the comics. We know that's not going to stick forever. You know, we'll always get back to, like, you know, a baseline crazy murderous Joker. And I didn't want the movie to change that in the public eye. And now it's going to change in the comics because everybody fucking loved it, you know? So that was one of my apprehensions with it. The other big apprehension with it is it felt like such a cash grab. It's like, go make your weird clown movie and I'll watch it. It's probably going to be a good movie. That's, you know, my train of thought before. Like, go make your weird clown movie. Just don't call it Joker. Because you're not really going to, you know, effectively do a Joker movie. Because that would be such a dark, fucked up movie and you're not going to do it. That was my train of thought. Tell you what, they fucking threaded that needle, because they checked a lot of the boxes of Joker shit that I would have wanted in a Joker movie. They just did it. One of the things that I really liked that this movie did, that I didn't think they would have the balls, the Cole Jones to do it, or let's not be sexist, I wouldn't think they have the cunt to do it. I did not think that they could find a way to make the Joker feel almost like he has a supernatural power, like a supernatural thing about him. In the comics books, he has no technical power. His insanity is his power. He can take, like, physical damage. You know, fucking psychics can't go in his mind because they can't even fucking read it. And obviously in a more realistic take, you can't do that. But this movie found a way to make it look like there was a supernaturalness about his insanity, and it emanated in everybody else. Even the whole city, all of Gotham went fucking kind of crazy from, like, his push of the domino. You know, insanity is like gravity. All it takes is a little push. You know, I know that's Heath Ledger, but still, it was very evident in this movie that he took from different versions of the Joker and made a Joker movie, you know, or made a Joker character. Talk about Joaquin Phoenix now. And the director, obviously. Another thing about the Joker, besides his insanity, that I feel that is very prominent of him and very important for his character, is some level of mystery. And I felt like with giving him an origin story, we would do, you know, Han Solo, a Star Wars story. You'd tell, how he got his blaster, how he got his hammer. You know, I thought it was gonna spoil a surprise. And through the movie was so engaging that I didn't even care at that point. But they were able to implant some mystery through his whole genealogy. You know, is he Thomas Wayne's son? Is he not? It left some to the imagination because, okay, his mother might have adopted him. He was subjected to abuse. That was part of it. But also, it's like, if somebody wanted to cover that up, it's like, you know, that kid was adopted, even though it's my kid. It would be somebody as powerful as Thomas Wayne. That part really added a lot of mystery to him. And as we saw in the movie, you're seeing it from his perspective, and he's not all there. That's, you know, displayed by the Sassy Beat character, which personally, until it was revealed, I thought he was really beating them cheeks. I know, you know, Sassy Beats was a figment of his imagination or an exaggeration of his imagination. So it's left nebulous whether is Thomas Wayne his father or not. And I know that's like always been a theory that the Joker might be, you know, the Batman's long lost brother, or at least in modern history. That added, oh shit, is it or is it not? What is it? That I felt like is very integral to who the Joker is. Because in different iterations, there's always like something you're left wondering, except maybe Jack Nicholson's. That's what makes it even more scary, more terrifying of who the Joker is. Like, you don't fully know everything about him. You can't know all the material things about him. Also, another thing is like what I said about making an efficient Joker movie is it would have to be very twisty and fuck up your own logic in your head as an audience member. And I felt like this movie did that very effectively. You do sympathize with him, but then when the fucked up shit really starts going down, you're like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. And it makes you question your own sanity. Because you're kind of riding for him a little bit in the beginning. You're like, well, those fucking Chads kind of deserved it, the ones on the train. And then it's like, oh shit. And that's the type of thing that a Joker movie should do. And it did. And I'm happy that it did. I'm happy that I don't have to have a separate part of this review where I shit on it like, it wasn't that. It was that. This is the Joker movie we deserve. We got what we deserved. The other thing that I really, really appreciated from this movie was the respect for the mythology of Batman. This movie could have worked by itself. Take it out of Gotham, put it in New York City. You take the Waynes out of it, just give it a different name like Rump or Crump or something. It would have been the same fucking movie. It would have been just as good. But as an audience member and as a comic book fan, the fact that it was in Gotham and it had respect for the mythology, in my opinion, to me, added to the movie because most of the audience is already familiar with the, Batman origin story. And the fact that they showed it one more time, it could be like, we don't need to see that again. But in this version, it was very short and they got to the point, they did it, and it makes sense. It was a build-up to that, and it was very poignant and it was very poetic in a way. Also, there's like a lot of visual details that I appreciated, like when Arthur Fleck shows up to the Wayne mansion, the color of his top is the same as Bruce Wayne's, kind of saying like, oh, we're cut from the same cloth. And that's like almost like a thing that I had, cut from the same cloth in my head. And then I looked, it's technically not the same cloth, it's just the same color. So what's reality? And it's like, Arthur Fleck's was rough, Bruce Wayne's was smooth. It's very little subtle details, and the movie is just littered with this kind of stuff. It was beautiful. Like at the very end, after he murders that lady in Arkham Asylum, I'm just gonna assume it was Arkham Asylum. He has that little walk off, ha ha ha. To me, it almost was like a metaphor, like this is my reality. And then that back and forth with the guard was almost like that guard was like a stand-in for Batman. This is where the chase begins, and this also goes to like that cycle: who started who, because it's always a lure to like, oh, Batman, it was like the good white people that colonized Gotham. But like, it's the reality of America. Let's keep it at 100. It's the reality of America. They got colonized a certain way. Slavery happened. If the Wayne family was in America, you'd think they'd be on the good boat. You think that's how they made their money, by being the good people? Come on now. So it's almost like the sins of the past have fucking come to like this cauldron, this mixture, a guy who slipped through the cracks, the system couldn't help him and stuff like that, and that's who came out and he created Batman. And Batman it's like a vicious cycle. I know I sound like a left-wing cook liberal snowflake, whatever. Think what you think. Is just my opinion, it's just my thoughts. And this movie was just amazing, man. It just left me thinking about life in general, and left me thinking about compassion, because the movie does have, the very end especially, lets you know like there are people who slip through the cracks, and they should be helped. So with that little sentiment, movie was great. You have to watch it more to find problems with it. One of my favorite Batman things ever, even those very, very light Batman touch on there. And yeah, man, performances were great. I can't say any more about this movie. And yeah, man, that's all I got for you guys today. So you guys be good to each other, all that good shit. Subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. And yeah, man, ODG out.